No cash at BSP ATMs in Port Moresby. People of Lake Murray and Strickland River raised concerns. And NHC Victim to appeal eviction case in National Court.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayre.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Monday's news. BSP Chief Executive Officer Robin Fleming is expected to comment on the shortage in cash at ATMs throughout Port Moresby tomorrow. This comes after BSP customers reported BSP ATMs were out of cash and customers were not able to withdraw money since last Thursday.
BSP customers in Port Moresby are going from ATM to ATM in the hope to withdraw some cash. However, almost all BSP ATMs in the nation's capital are out of cash. We checked ATMs at BSP Boroko, BSP's head office at Islander, Port Moresby General Hospital, Jackson's domestic terminal and main shopping centers, and it was the same story. Hundreds of customers returning angry after they were unable to withdraw cash.
I was only able to get 20 kinas and 100 kina. Okay, that was like around lunchtime, and then go afternoon. Afternoon when I came back, I went in there to do shopping and I had to give my son's babysitter some money, and I came back to use the ATM. I wanted to get 50 kinas again, and then when I came, there was no 20 kina this time. You could only get 100 kina, and there was a really long queue out here.
The only available services at the ATMs are to check balances, obtain bank statements, and purchase mobile credits. The BSP ATM at the Jackson's domestic terminal has been without cash for a few days now. At the Port Moresby General Hospital, patients were unable to withdraw money since last Thursday, and customers at a shop at Tokarara said ATMs outside the shops have been without money since last Friday.
The annoying thing about it is we BSP customers are being forced to go use either a Westpac ATM or a Kina Bank ATM, and obviously it comes at some cost. You pay some fees to use their services.
The flow and circulation of money is controlled by the central bank. MTV News contacted Governor of the Bank of PNG, Loy Bakani, for an explanation on this, but was advised to speak to a deputy governor. Meanwhile, BSP CEO Robin Fleming is expected to speak to MTV News on this issue tomorrow. Thekla Gunga, National MTV News.
People from Lake Murray and the Strickland River area in Western Province have raised concerns over tailings from Porgera mine, which have affected them over 30 years. People are getting sick and dying from contact with the river system, and there is evidence of a decrease in flora and fauna in Lake Murray. They are calling on the developer and government for compensation and to stop dumping waste into the river system.
These concerns were raised by members of the Lake Murray Strickland River Resource Owners Association. Their concerns were raised based on compelling evidence from independent studies and Porgera Mine annual environmental reports. This shows that Lake Murray, Strickland River and Fly River are severely polluted, and this cannot continue into the future. They claimed mining waste dumped into the Porgera River does not stop in Hela Province but continues into the Western Province waterways. This has resulted in Lake Murray becoming shallower, decrease in flora and fauna in Lake Murray, a decrease in sago yield and people getting sick.
And there are many others who are at home who also lost even hair and the skin.
Plan di life lomi em lose finish. Time program from Wesi Camton. So I mean, no commenced in all people from me Camton long. Lake Murray,
When they go swim into the river system, they develop sores on their bodies. Itchiness, sick, internal body pains.
This environmental pollution has been there for over 30 years, and their waterways are severely affected compared to the environmental impacts upstream. They claimed they were not consulted during the early negotiations when the mine was established, and they want to have their say in the current Porgera mine review.
We do not want any more dumping into our river system. We have to be consulted. We have to give them consent for the mine to operate. So do not reopen the mine until we are consulted.
They are also calling for a backdate compensation claim for environmental neglect for over 30 years, and the funds to be parked under an entity which will be created to manage funds and rollout programs.
And so we want to be involved by means of our entity, which a new entity has to be formed, Lake Murray Strickland River Resource Development Foundation. That entity is to roll out the programs that is going to be coming through this negotiation and also through this package.
As a way forward, they are calling on the developer to stop dumping waste into the Strickland River, Lake Murray and the Fly River systems.
Miners that come to mine around those areas, we don't want those companies to use the same river system to use our Strickland and the Lake Murray Fly River system.
Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
The Provincial Education Advisor for Moresby, Keith Tangui, has urged teachers in the province to submit their resumption of duty forms or RODs by the end of this week. Mr. Tangui said the Moresby Education Division will only accept RODs that are in line with the Provincial Education Board's appointment list. The Moresby Education Advisor briefed lay media today on Teachers' Resumption Week, which commenced today.
Everyone must take the responsibility.
Moresby's Education Advisor Keith Tangui says the Provincial Education Division will only be accepting resumption of duty forms or RODs from teachers who are on the appointment list. Mr. Tangui said the appointment list has already been endorsed by the Provincial Education Board, and there will be no changes to it until resumption of the academic year, which will commence next week.
There will be no other appointments by any other person. The appointment has been completed. The Provincial Education Board has endorsed those, and that's already on the wall in the main office. And copies have been distributed to all the districts, 9 districts of Moresby. So all the teachers will just follow the appointment and fit into the positions.
This week is resumption week for teachers according to the education calendar. Mr. Tangui said teachers in the province must be in their respective schools this week to fill out their RODs. Inspectors and district education managers will also be in schools this week to monitor teachers.
And as I speak, our inspectors are already moving around from school to school. District education managers are also moving from school to school to make sure the number, that is the names and numbers on the appointment list that I have here, they are at school. Okay? Cross-check the position number, the file number, everything to make sure the officer is there and they're filling in the RODS.
Meanwhile, teachers who have not been given positions will remain in the pool. This means they will not be paid until they secure a position. Mr. Tangui said this case normally happens to teachers who are posted to rural schools but refuse to take up the posting.
If they don't want to go to those schools that we appoint them, well, they will be staying in the pool. They will be in the pool, and we will appoint other people to those positions. So those who don't want to go, they can stay in the pool as long as they prefer to take up the position. Then we will let them fill in the RODS and we'll pay them. Because the LSCO system is provincial. Before it was national. Now we control the salary and everything here in the province.
Charlene Airy, National MTV News, Lay.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll have more of the day's stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Buffy Dawn, a senior physiotherapist at Engau and tenant of a National Housing Corporation house in Ley, is waiting to appeal her case in the National Court following orders to have her evicted. Being the sitting tenant, she expressed her interest to purchase the property. However, she was evicted because she was told that the house belonged to a different government institution. She was later told that the house had been sold to someone else.
As I've appealed before the
For the past 3 weeks, Buffy Dawn has been to and from the Lake Courthouse hoping for a chance to appeal her case in the National Court. This follows the decision made by a magistrate in favor of the National Housing Corporation to have her evicted. The quest has not been easy with the legal ear closed.
It's over the Christmas break now. The judges will resume come February, March, and so we're still waiting.
Buffy Dawn is a senior physiotherapist at the Engau General Hospital, renting this National Housing Corporation property. Being a tenant for more than 2 years, she expressed her interest to buy the house. She was sent a letter of offer to purchase the house and she accepted. In 2017, she was told the house belonged to another government institution and she had to be evicted. She was later told that the house was being sold. The family got a stay order and moved back. Last December, they were given 21 days to move out after the magistrate made the decision in favor of the NHC.
Me find him hard legally by pursue yet go lo kisimol, stay order and all kinds something will help me in a family. Now towards Christmas, where all family in another place online all hamamasa. Na kind of say me in a family through lo this Christmas na New Year. Me look me plan no stop good, me plan stop one time. This la bell pen. Now, M2 second time now come up Lumina family.
2 other public servants, Levi Kurakipa and Amos Tarali, also have the same stories. They have been evicted and are hoping for another chance to fight their legal case. For Buffy, she is still waiting to appeal her case in the National Court as the legal tenant of the property. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Ley.
A man in his mid-20s from Gavuone village in Abao district, Central Province, has gone missing for almost 3 days now after he went with a few others on a fishing trip. Napoleon Maune is said to have mysteriously disappeared while diving with a snorkel and fishing gun underwater at a reef towards the east of Gavuone village last Saturday morning. By the afternoon, the entire village heard about the disappearance, and yesterday about 16 dinghies went on a search and rescue mission to locate him. But unfortunately, they couldn't only find his fishing gun, but not his body. The search continued today, and village leaders announced that if his body is not found in the next couple of days, a declaration will be made upon accordingly. It is understood police have been notified about the disappearance, and the cause of his disappearance remains unknown. Parents in Madang are pleased over the recent announcement by the Education Minister, who has paid the first quarter component of school fees for the 2021 academic year. Parents say with more than 2 children in school, it is a huge burden to register their children at the start of the school year. Rebecca Kevin says the first component helps relax the burden for parents and allows them ample time to look for school fees.
As the resumption date for the 2021 academic year draws near, these hardworking parents are trying to find the money to send their children back to school. On Sunday, MTV visited Wagul's settlement to speak with a number of parents on the struggles they face. Rebecca Kevin has a number of children attending primary and secondary schools and tertiary institutions, and it is difficult.
You count me got pinin kaino sem now misla mama now. Me got university am stop yet. Me got next level tertiary am stop. Okay, me got elementary am stop. So 38% am still me pilimosem. Am antap to am antap. Lo me one plan. Parent we me no walk. Kaino sem me no walk. Me market mama me struggle. Me team this la 38%.
Another parent and a senior teacher, Gary Yagu, says most children cannot attend class because of school fee problems. Schools are sending students home due to non-payment of school fees. This affects the students' learning.
Especially our parents are paying hard by school fee. I also struggle paying school fee.
On Saturday, Education Minister Jimmy Yuguro warned schools in the country not to send students home. Yuguro says the 122 million kina paid went into all school accounts in the country and assured the schools the 167 million kina outstanding fees for 2020 will be paid also.
All teachers, now board of management, please. If not animal picking in Masenro, now no more.
Yuguro further states that the Marape government is also vocal on food institutions by also putting money into schools to set up food programs. Teachers teaching food programs will also be paid special allowances so that it helps boost their morale.
This year, Marape government, and we talk strong through, no people must help more food. So you by looking more food stuff. That's all sleep no go through. That's all today. Me play kidnapping back food. Me play by rolling out food. All grade 8 dropouts, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. All gonna all by getting free subsidy and enroll in food program. Me directly please education secretary department. We'll make sure all the high schools, vocational schools, nominated primary schools in Southern country, only no choice, that's all, only must observe him, only must run him food program.
The Education Minister made these announcements at Ramu Station in Madang during the launching of a number of projects in his electorate. He was accompanied by the Agriculture Minister and member for Maprit, John Simon. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
Justice David Cannings has summoned Madang MP Brian Kremer and Governor Peter Yama to appear in the National Court tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for the first hearing on Madang town roads. The two members of Parliament were summoned after 13 other respondents asked the court to have them present in court. Cannings, under Section 57(1) of the Constitution, has taken the initiative to summon all 15 respondents on the poor road conditions.
The Madang National Court has adjourned today's first hearing on the human rights application on the poor road conditions in Madang town to tomorrow. Justice David Cannings, after discussion with the respondents, has summoned the two members of Parliament. Cannings told the court all evidence for today's court will be put on hold until tomorrow. On January 11, Judge Cannings had summoned 6 respondents initially to appear in court for the first mention. The court listed Governor Peter Yama and Madang MP Brian Kremer as the 14th and 15th respondents to appear in court today. However, both politicians were not present in the courtroom this morning. Madang District Development Authority CEO Albert Yului told the court Madang MP Brian Kremer was not aware or informed to attend court, while the lawyer representing Madang Governor Peter Yama told the court the governor is in the province but did not know his exact location. The purpose of the proceedings is to find out who is responsible for maintaining and mending the roads in Madang town. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
Victims of alcohol-related offences in Lae said they continue to suffer due to the use of alcohol in their community. A 65-year-old widow and mother of 4, Stephanie Tay, told EMTV News that her residence is used as a mini club 7 days a week by the youth from her community. She said her fence was torn down by the young men from her community intoxicated with cheap alcohol beverages.
This is 65-year-old Stephanie Tay's residence. She's a mother of 4 and has been living here at Lae's Papuan compound area for over 30 years. She's a widow and currently lives here with her 3 sons. The widow and her family don't sleep peacefully at night and enjoy the comfort at home during the day because of the disturbances caused by the young man under the influence of alcohol. Stephanie's daughter-in-law said she has been living with such disturbances for 17 years. She said her husband and her husband's brother can't do much because they're afraid of retaliation. They said they've been calling the police, but they haven't had much success. She now has a newborn baby. She said the consumption of alcohol in the community still continues. It is becoming uncontrollable and unbearable for her and her family.
Drink beer, I can carry more come inside me. What if me deny more the power blow me? Me deny more, me no not give him you the power. It means a fight over. So me no not fight back one day you plan. So but me must give him power yet. Because me no like a fight. Me give him power and me lock the door. I can be around the street, sit down about the street, hang around there, waiting you to spark penis, and then I come back.
Mary Silas is another victim of alcohol-related offense, also from Lake's Papun compound area.
Man, me am sa drink all the time. Nakaski mi lo mani mi tognogat am sa koros pait lo mi gon am brokisla nus blomi. No disla bottle taso so mi no like ni sa santi basta. Mas topi mo gada na pinis osem.
The women victims are part of the 7 communities in Lake calling for a ban on the newly introduced alcohol beverages and for the government to review laws governing the production, sale and consumption of alcohol beverages. Julie Badui, Oa, National MTV News, Lake.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina will buy $0.2775 $0.3552 Australian dollars, $0.2197 euro, and 28.14 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee, cocoa and copra closed lower. Palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading lower and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 179.03 points lower. The ASX 200 is trading at 20.23 points higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 21.75 points higher. National MTV News continues with more stories after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. 8 out of 16 LTI students who were excluded from the LTI admission list are asking the LTI Council to consider their appeal to resit the supplementary exams. Their reason being they were not given enough time to prepare for this exam, which determines their academic results to be admitted to the bar. While their appeal will be considered when the council next sits, time is running out as those who pass the exams will be admitted to the bar this Friday.
Trainee lawyer spokesperson Nyland Jim from the Legal Training Institute took to the media about their grievances with the administrative directive. He explained that the supplementary exams were unfairly administered.
The reason why we are here is because of the unfair and maladministration of the supplementary exams by the LTI administration. And we have appealed the decision, We have appealed, and up until now we have not received any results from the LTI Council or any administration of the status quo of appeal.
16 of the trainees did not make it through. They believe that the administration of these supplementary exams was unfair given the said conditions. According to the students, the normal process is that 3 days before the supplementary exams, a letter notifying the students of the failed subject is given out. Within the 3 days, the students have to write back and prepare 100 kina for their exams payment. After the 3 days has lapsed, the exam will be handed out, and depending on the nature of the exam, 1 to 3 days is given for the completion of the exams. However, that was not the case last year.
But for our case now, the day we found out that we had failed the subject, we were supposed to write, and no written notice was given to us. We just had to go to the counter and find out if we had failed the subject. And when we found out that we had failed, we had to write a letter. And we're just trainees. We do not readily have 100 kina to pay for the supplementary exam. So some of us had to look for the money overnight, and and the exam was due the next day. So when we were gonna pay it, when we paid, we received the exam, and we had 1 or 2 hours to do the exam.
Aggrieved by the decision, 8 trainees appealed to the Legal Training Institute Council on 11 January 2021 and have since been waiting for a response.
We want response by next week. And if there is no response by the close of business hour of Wednesday next week, we will go to court.
The acting director and the council have not responded to their grievances, but will wait till the council meets and their appeal will be deliberated. Mr. James says they will give the council till Wednesday to respond to them. If, however, they do not get a response, they will take the matter to court. Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
5 years ago, Esme Sinapa started a small cafe in Popondetta town promoting organic food. She made the drastic change in her career after doctors told her that her health was failing and that she had a year to live. 5 years on, her health improved and her business is attracting a new community of health-conscious individuals.
5 years ago, Esme Sinapa was told she didn't have long to live. Doctors said she had a year at most. It triggered a life-altering decision. She resigned from a job in Port Moresby and came home.
I was the Secretary General of Red Cross at the time. Very unhealthy, 125 kilograms, diabetic, high blood pressure from all the stress and what have you. And so when the doctor told me that I had about 12 months to live, it was an instantaneous decision to resign and leave whatever there and come home.
The sobering health diagnosis put her on a positive path.
Yeah, I realized that, life is bigger than just...
She started the E-Cafe, a small restaurant, cafe and conferencing center, promoting organic food products, drinks and spices.
E-Cafe is sort of like the place to be when you come to be inspired.
But Esme has become something of an influencer in the business arena in a small town.
My vision is I want to have more of e-cafes from the women that I'm working with through.
Scott Waide, National EMTV News.
Saraga Estate was launched today by Minister for Moresby South, Justin Tachenko, Lands and Physical Planning Minister John Rosso and NCD Governor Paul Spakop. This is part of NCD's Settlement to Suburb project.
Coordinators, all our leaders from the different communities.
Saraga is an old scrapyard being completely regenerated, revitalized and fixed up to now a new suburb with 164 blocks. Member for Moresby South Justin Tachenko says the estate will also include commercial blocks, clinic, courthouse and services that people can get access to. He says the idea is for an organized community with proper water supply, power and basic services. He further thanked the Governor and Minister for Lands and Physical Planning for their support.
We originally got 5 million kina from NCDC to resettle and to make this subdivision here. But with the shortfall as well, the Lands Department came on board under the ministry and leadership of Honourable John Rosso, who gave an extra million kina, for all the fencing, subdivision and final survey plan, what you see here today as a finished product. So this is a joint effort, especially from NCDC, the Lands Department working together in partnership with us. With that as well, NCDC and Lands will continue to work together.
The bankable titles that will be given are not for sale. These titles will be handed down to the next of kin. Lands and Physical Minister John Rosso says a good partnership is required to provide development to the people.
Development has to work hand in hand. We need housing for our people, good affordable housing, but at the same time we need to provide land for development, especially in the inner cities of Port Moresby, inner suburbs of Port Moresby. So relocating people from 2 Mile Hill, Paga Hill, Nakaino Sam, na putting all good plabs with titles in the hands, it's the right way to go.
He also emphasized strongly on changing attitudes and mindsets.
Changing attitude and mindset blue. Look at him to say legally up you start plan. Make sure they're beginning and bigger number inside. Make sure they look after your neighbors. Look at them all, changing mindset blue. It's very, very important. Because you work on say now by changing mindset blue, what people think of us living in settlements. A lot of people think lowly of us. But why? Because we don't change our mindset. You made Masenisi mindset blue made, and prove to them that we can live and be proper citizens, contributing to our economy and to our people. that we're not troublemakers if we are given a chance and an opportunity.
NCD Governor Powers Bakop said one of his goals was to do away with settlements and convert them into suburbs. He also thanked the Prime Minister for his great support in implementing this project.
All people blame me, all got insecurity. Only no got title. Only sit down here, worry, stop long all every day. No a good house, no around, the basics are not right. We can't expect them to become champions, city blow you mean, a country blow you mean. So it's not just to make Port Moresby look clean, but to put a strong foundation where building blocks for a great city and for a great country.
The estate contains 164 blocks. Those who were evacuated at 2 Mile, Waterfront, Paga Hill settlements and other areas can now have the blocks to their title and build proper houses for their families. Esther Thailam, National EMTV News.
And Chukai Sports is next to details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League Chairman Sandy Saka says the SP PNG Hunters team have sacrificed a lot to relocate to Australia and commended the players on their decision to relocate.
The SP PNG Hunters will be sacrificing a lot this season to be based down at the Gold Coast in Australia. But to the team, this plan to spend the rest of the season in Australia is not new. Last season, just after playing one match in the opening round of the Intra Super Cup season in 2020, the team was faced with the same dilemma to stay in Australia to play out the rest of the season.
The Hunters left for their first game in Brisbane, and like CEO Stanley Ondina said, they left thinking that they were going to come back after 3 days. So imagine you packing your bag for 3 days, you head across to Brisbane, play the first game, and you're told to stay for an extra 5 days, and then they shut down the border, and the boys were asked to make the decision to stay back in Australia and play the full season. And most all of us who were associated with rugby league were touched when we got word after the coach had met with the boys that the older boys had made the decision to stay back, make the sacrifice to stay back in Australia and play the whole of 2020 season in Australia. So give the Hunters team a round of applause.
Papua New Guinea Rugby Football League Chairman Sandy Saka said the team are sacrificing a lot to keep the Hunters playing in the Queensland Intra Super Cup, and a very noble decision from the players to keep this program continuing for the benefit of rugby league.
11 new boys have joined, but the 17 boys that remain with the team, that's the caliber of the team we have. Boys that are willing to sacrifice their life, their family, and their time to, save the jersey and, that brand with pride. So we know you going away this year, you will continue that culture. So we have every confidence in that.
Sandy Saka, who has been chairman of the PNG RFL since the Hunters' inception in 2014, encouraged the team to trust their teammates and the processes of the Hunters for the 2021 season.
My short message to the boys, it really doesn't matter whether you're playing at NFS or you're playing at Ipswich or Burleigh Bears. It's just you 17 or 13 boys on the field. Whether it's 15,000 here or 500 at a park in Brisbane, the rules are still going to be the same. It's going to be 13 on 13 with 2 touches on the side and a referee in the middle. Most importantly, trust your systems and processes. That's the Hunters' value. But more importantly, trust the man next to you. Play for each other.
Fidelis Sukina, Chukai Sports.
FC Genesis in their distinctive sky blue uniform remain on top of the Southern Conference in the Women's National Soccer League. Genesis' game plan, built on the foundation of a strong defense, have mixed it with the best so far, declaring their intentions for further progression this season.
FC Genesis has taken the step
onto the national level by filling a team in the Women's National Soccer League. The club, who plays in the Port Moresby Soccer Association competition, are currently on top of the Southern Conference of the WANSL with 13 points. The team have proven themselves with consistent performances that they are here to progress further in the competition and not to just make up the numbers. Formed in 2017, FC Genesis hopes to inspire the next generation of female footballers, providing a clear pathway for player development, exposing young talents to a higher level of competition at an earlier age.
I think all of our ladies all stand out, and I give them a big gratitude and thank you to each and every one of them. Yes, without the support from the family and the extended family, we won't see the reflection of what positively out on the field. So it's the guardians, the parents, and the supporters and the fans are the ones who give the moral support, ethically, positively, outside from the field and inside from the field as well. So the bonus goes to them as well in supporting the ladies, and that reflection comes out on the field.
FC Genesis, being an association team, is excited to compete against the cream of the top female players, putting their young talents in the spotlight for national selectors. The club will play their part in the development of women's football in the country. In doing so, this will maintain PNG's standing as the top women's football team amongst the Pacific Islands. Huxley Lovai, Chukai Sports.
Among stories after the break, volleyball and supercar racing. Stay with us for the details.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. The Poraporana Larabada electorate of the NCD saw a 4-day tournament of volleyball festival in Hanua Bada on the outskirts of Port Moresby. The event was organized by locals to keep youth busy and away from activities such as alcohol abuse and drugs. The tournament saw 16 teams from the village who were permitted to recruit 2 outside participants for the purpose of building competitiveness and rivalry amongst the teams during the games. Outside participants included PNG national reps in the likes of Junior Harold Gima, Gia Kappa and George David, amongst others, who were a bonus to the 4 days of excitement. With the round-robin format, teams with 2 wins went through to the qualifiers, with One Piece Vanama and Broggies taking the grand final showdown. The grand final was played yesterday, with Team One Piece Vanama beating Team Broggies 3-0, taking home the prize of 1,000 kina. And that story ends Chukai Sports. The weather report for the next 24 hours when we come back.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecast for this morning and tonight in the southern region. Port Moresby, mostly fine morning, becoming partly cloudy with chances of afternoon, evening showers. Mostly cloudy with possible afternoon showers in Daru. Partly cloudy with a shower or 2 in Kerma, Popondetta and Alotau. In the Mamasa region, mostly fine, though partly cloudy with afternoon shower or 2 possible in Ley and Midang. Partly cloudy weather with a shower or 2 in Wewak, and mostly fine weather, though partly cloudy in spots in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine and sunny in Lorengau and Buka. Mostly fine, though partly cloudy in Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul. Mostly cloudy with chances of few light rain showers in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, morning fog clearing, then mostly fine, partly cloudy weather in Mount Hagen, Goroka and Kundiawa. And morning fog clearing, then a mostly cloudy day with afternoon rain showers in Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus. With you always.
And that's the way it is this Monday, the 25th of January 2021. On behalf of the entire EMTV news team right around the country, pleasant viewing. Good night.